By the way, the father of Joe Burrow, the LSU quarterback, said he'd be happy to be drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. It's funny, as we move out of the NFL season in about 3 weeks, we'll start talking about the draft and stuff. Is that, listen, there's about 8 or 9 bad organizations in the NFL. You know, about a third of the league, maybe just slightly less, maybe a third of the league is just not very good and hasn't been good for years. Detroit, Cincinnati, Miami, Washington, Jets, Jacksonville, Tampa, Cleveland. Cincinnati's one of those teams. And it's hard to be bad in the NFL. It is hard to be bad because of the obvious reason. You get better draft picks. I mean, Jacksonville at one point had a top 5 pick, like top 10 pick 10 of 11 years. You also get easier schedules. So if you are bad in the NFL, there's always a reason why inside the organization, and it's almost always the owner. Well, that's the problem in Cincinnati. I mean, Mike Brown's in his mid-80s. He's the owner, the GM, the vice president. He won't let anybody have decisions. This is an organization that hasn't won a playoff game in 30 years. This is an organization that hasn't drafted a Pro Bowler in 6 to 7 years. Tyler Eifert was the last one, the Notre Dame tight end. It's a bad organization. So, and then, I mean, T.J. Hushmanzada used to play for the Bengals. Remember what he said on this show? He went from the Bengals to the Ravens. Remember that?
We didn't have bottled water or Gatorade, and it was crazy because when we first got it, guys would be taking backpacks full of Gatorade home.
If you're not giving players water and Gatorade, what were they giving you? Tea?
No, you could get water. You would just go to the fountain. The year before I got there, Willie Anderson was telling me they didn't even have jock straps. They would get a bunch of used jock straps, throw them in the middle of the locker room and say, here you go.
That's not that long ago. Like, that's what Cincinnati is. They haven't won a playoff game in 30 years. So, you know, this is an organization that is cheap. And they don't go after free agents, and they don't manipulate the draft. They just kind of, here's our picks, here's what we do. So Joe Burrow's going into that, and he's going to face the Steelers' front seven defensively, which is maybe the most talented outside of the 49ers' young defensive front in the league, Pittsburgh's. He's going to face Baltimore's defense, which just got better and better. And by the way, when Myles Garrett comes back, the strength of the Cleveland Browns is not wide receiver. It's actually their defensive front. So I think Joe Burrow, I think it's going to be a rough sledding. Logan Ryan's a 2-time Super Bowl champ. 7th NFL season, 4 with the Patriots, 3rd with the Titans, where he is creating fumbles, forcing turnovers, and finds himself once again in a huge game. And Logan Ryan is joining us via the Coward Global Satellite Network. All right, here we go. It feels like to me, Logan, the postseason is built for you in Tennessee. The referees can swallow flags. They allow more physicality. It kind of feels like it's at the NBA, same thing. Refs swallow the whistles and let LeBron and the men beat the boys in the playoffs. Does it feel like right now is your time and the sport now is built kind of for you this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. We're built for it. We feel like we have a physical team, physical by nature. We believe in running the ball, stopping the run. And, you know, the weather gets colder and Derrick Henry comes alive and, you know, defenses win championships. And that's what we pride ourselves on here. So I do feel like we're built for this run.
Mike Vrabel, what's the secret sauce? When did you know this dude who was just playing a few years ago can coach? What was it? What is it with him?
I knew. I mean, I think I was on last year with you, and I knew he was a great coach back then. He's just a former player, a champion, detailed, explains things how realistically you want them done. I think the hardest thing for a professional player is to have a coach who's never done it before. It's not that you can't listen to him, but they ask you to do things. You're like, well, how realistic is that in the setting? I think he's very realistic in his expectations and kind of that do your job mentality here where he informs every player what he expects them to do and allow them to go out there and perform to the best of their ability.
By the way, nobody on this roster, Logan, has been in more big games than you. Teams can get tight. I mean, I've talked to a lot of pros, and they're like, man, you get to these conference championships, and it feels different driving to the stadium. How do you ensure this locker room is loose and not tight Sunday?
You know, we're not supposed to be here. You know, they're the underdog. It's house money. We're 7.5 point underdog. Last week we were 10. The week before, who knows, probably 10. So, I mean, we've been having a win and get in since week 17, had a win and get in. So we've been in the playoffs for a good month now. We've been on the road for a good month now. We've been picked against. I remember when we beat New England. In New England, every fan said, well, good game, but you're going to get rolled by Baltimore. And then we beat Baltimore. And, well, another good game, but you're going to get rolled by Kansas City. So I'm gonna go out there and get rolled over. So we'll see how it goes.
Are you worried a little bit? I mean, Logan, fourth straight roadie, fatigue, Derrick Henry, 30 carries. Are you a little concerned with that?
No, I mean that's what it takes. That's what we're in. That's what it takes. You can call it momentum. We found our rhythm. Four straight, so we know how to pack our suits up, go on a plane, and play in hostile environments. And we've done the back-to-back weeks, and we're going to run it till the wheels fall off. We don't know that when that may be. It might be this Sunday. It may be in 2 weeks. Hopefully, it's in 2 weeks at the Super Bowl. But we're going to keep sticking to our formula. When
did you know during this season? Okay, because you had a losing record, and all of a sudden, you face Kansas City. Was there a moment, an epiphany for you, Logan, where you're like, we have a chance to be really, really special, even though the record may not say that?
Yeah, I thought we were I honestly thought we were real special in camp. We had a good team last year. We had a win and get in last year. We didn't. And I was hurt. We had Jarrell Casey hurt for that win and get in last year. And we got back healthy. We busted our butt all off season. And then we started year 2-4. And then we were 2-4. We were coming home from a road trip. We kind of had one of those internal meetings. How's this year going to go? They obviously made a quarterback change at the time. I think the quarterbacks handled it well. And then we had a goal line stand to basically go to 3-4. We beat the Chargers on a goal line stand.
Yep.
Play. And we could have been 2-5, or we could have been 3-4. So we went to 3-4, and we've been kind of having stands like that. We had a goal line stand in New England to help us win that game. So I really remember being 2-4, having a goal line stand, and winning a bunch of games since.
Do you feel like you ended the Patriots dynasty? It feels like that to me, respectfully. It does kind of feel like, you know what? They're a little old. There's a lot of good AFC teams. When you walked off that field, Logan, did you think, I'm with the right team now? I'm growing. They're not.
It's not about the team, man, what team I'm on or anything like that. I just feel like I'm in a good place. I feel like I'm able to show all my abilities. And I don't know what's going on with the Patriots. I do think there's going to be major changes there. I do think that, eventually those guys, man, they had a lot of long runs. They played a lot of extra games.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes to be a champion. You got to play these. You're playing a whole extra month of football, and it's a physical sport. So eventually, it seemed like they were fatigued in that game, fatigued this year, and eventually it caught up to them in a sense. So, yeah, if you want to call me Luke Skywalker flying in there and blowing up the Death Star, everyone's big into Star Wars right now with the Mandalorian and everything. So I got no problem flying into the Death Star. But they're all good. They're all good friends of mine. But you call what you see. We'll see what happens this offseason.
1 minute left. You ever faced a quarterback with an arm like Mahomes?
It might be Aaron. Him and Aaron Rodgers are the only two I've seen with this arm. The creative arm angles, the velocity on the ball, the ability to throw the ball in the cold weather, how he does. So he's special. We just beat Brady. We beat Lamar Jackson. But I think this is the best offense in football. I think it's our best test. And, good thing is we played him once before this year, so we know what it's like, and he's talented.
Well, Logan, you are 4 fumbles forced, multiple interceptions, a big game player, and a physical player that fits perfectly in a Rutgers guy. You got to be tough to play at Rutgers. You don't got no 77-degree games. It's cold and snow and windy in Jersey. Congrats to you. You're a good dude and a great player, and we're happy for you, man. Good luck Sunday.
Appreciate it, Con. Thank you. Hey. Blue collar, baby, so we're good.
All right, Logan Ryan, tremendous year, 4 fumbles forced, tied for 6th in the NFL this year. He's a classic Titan. He's a physical dude. He's a smart dude. There's a lot of New England here. You look at New England's dynasty and you think Brady, but when Gronk got here, it rebirthed the second part of the dynasty. New England had a dynasty for 10 and then didn't for several years. And then the last 7 or 8, Gronk and run blocking and running game as Brady ages engineered it. And that's a lot what the Titans are. It's a running power team with a quarterback, Tannehill, little reborn. It's an interesting story. And I do think they're going to make things somewhat uncomfortable for Kansas City, but I like the Chiefs' overall talent. Lightning and Jets, today's Discover Card Key matchup. Go to discover.com/cashback match. They mash all your cash at the end of your first year and no limit. Millions are getting cash back matched at Discover. Hour 3 next.